Today we are going to be talking about stem changers, specifically those that go from E to IE. In Spanish, some verbs have a stem change in the present tense, and then we have to ask ourselves, how do you form the present tense of E to IE stem changers? So, just to give you a quick overview, we have three different types of stem changers. We have E to IE, we have E to just I, and then we also have O to UE. Today we're going to be focusing on the E to IE, and then we'll move into the others. But once you get the general gist of everything, it shouldn't be too difficult. So here's how you do it. Stem changing verbs have regular AR, ER, and IR present tense endings. So you do the tense just the way you would whether it's an AR verb, an ER verb, or an IR verb. For the E to IE stem changers, the E of the stem changes to IE in all the forms except for nosotros and vosotros. You will often hear this called boot verbs or something like that because it basically forms a little bit of a boot where the stem goes because you get the stem changes here, but we don't worry about it there. Okay? Other E to IE stem changing verbs that you have learned but don't really know how to conjugate are cerrar, empezar, entender, pensar, and preferir. In stem changing verbs, it is the next to last syllable that changes. So that's a big deal right there. It's the next to last syllable. Notice that when the verb follows another one, the first verb is conjugated and the second is in its infinitive form. We've talked about this previously. So let's look at how to actually conjugate a stem changing verb with E to IE. So we have the verb cerrar. It's an AR verb, so we already know the endings for present tense in the AR. In the yo form, it's O. In the tu form, it's as. In the ella usted form, it's a. In the nosotros form, it's amos. And in the ellos, ellas, and ustedes box, it's an. Now, the remainder of this would be called the stem, okay? So, CERR. So what we do here is we have C, and then we're doing E to IE, okay? So, this E is not going to be E anymore. It's going to change to IE. CIE RRO. That's it. And we do that for the rest of it, all right? So we have cierro, and right here we have cierras. Right here we have Sierra, and then right here we have Cierran. But what do we do up here in the nosotros box? We leave it the same. CERR, cerramos. We do not do the stem change in the nosotros or in the vosotros, but we're not worried about that. Notice that it forms a boot, more or less. Stem changing verbs. Let's do another one. We have the verb preferir, which means to prefer. I want you to conjugate this verb using stem changing rules. And then I also want you to pay attention to which one you would change. Would you change it right here or right here? There was a rule that we discussed earlier. So I want you to pause the video, conjugate the verb, and then play the video to see if you did it correctly. Pause the video now. Okay, so to start off, it's an IR verb, so you can go ahead and do the endings in your head. For IR in the yo form, it's O. Tu, it's es. El, ello, usted, e. Since this is an IR verb in the nosotros, it would be imos. And then down here in the ellos, ellas, ustedes box, it would be en. Based off of our notes and the information we learned at the beginning of this short video, the next to last syllable is the one that changes from E to IE, okay? Or from O to UE, or E to I. So we have next to last syllable. So here is the first, here's the last syllable, I, so IR. The next to last is right here, so that's the one that we would need to change. So you would write everything the same except for where we're focusing on the stem change. So P-R-E-F, and then there's an R. So let's just do that. P-R-E-F, and then there's an R. P-R-E-F, and there's R. P-R-E-F. Then you take the E and you change it to I-E. So F-I-E, prefiero, prefieres, prefiere, prefieren. This forms our boot. So hopefully you remembered not to do it in the nosotros. In the nosotros, it's the same. You don't do an E to I-E at all. So it would be P-R-E-F-E-R-I-M-O-S, preferimos. Now here is the passage that we are going to practice. You have the potential verbs that we're going to use up in the top right box. I want you to read this passage, and then when you get to number 1 or to a word in the blank, numbers 1 through 6, I want you to conjugate the verb correctly using stem changing rules. Remember, you will not do it in the nosotros form or the vosotros, and you will need to pay attention to doing the stem change on the next to last syllable. I'll do number 1 with you. So, the verbs up at the top. The verb querer means to want. Cerrar means to close. Preferir means to prefer. Entender means to understand. Pensar means to think. And empezar means to start. I will go ahead and draw the lines to the different blanks so that you can save some time trying to figure out what the whole passage is saying. I want you to conjugate the verbs based on the subject or subject pronouns within the passage. Pause the video, complete this, and then play the video to see if you got them correct. So, number 1. It says, mañana celebramos el cumpleaños de mi hermana mayor. Voy a la tienda de ropa porque ella, you may not understand what all of it's saying, but you know it's ella, and then querer, which would be quiere. Ella quiere. Okay? Ya tiene dos. Number 2, ella. And number 2 would be pensar, so ella piensa. Number 3, entender, but it would be for mis padres, so it would be entienden. Number 4, el otoño, which means the fall, so it's singular. Empezar, which would be empieza. Number 5, yo prefiero. Number 6, la tienda, singular, and it would be cierra. Hopefully this has helped you start to understand a little bit more about stem changers. We will now go to another video and look at stem changers that go from O to UE or E to IE.